To the food more bass than Boots Collins. You versus me, that's like Ali versus Foreman. God's act.
Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Tyler and welcome back to another gameplay commentary. And in today's video I have some H1Z1 gameplay in the background, so hopefully you guys do enjoy that. And in today's video I wanted to share a story with you guys about my first time dabbing or smoking hash oil. But before I get into the story, I just wanted to mention that I'm going to be live streaming probably some H1Z1 or maybe some other Call of Duty games, some Modern Warfare 2 or something as soon as this video is done. So if you guys are interested in a live stream, go ahead and check the first link in the description. Like I've mentioned in a few of my other videos earlier this week, I'm going to be live streaming every single day from here on out pretty much. But, you know, as long as I'm not feeling like complete shit or my internet's not going out, you know, I'm not like throwing up or anything like that, I'm gonna keep live streaming pretty much every day. And also one last thing before I get into the story, I was thinking about making like some t-shirts on a Teespring so they would be super limited t-shirts. And at this point I only have one graphic idea for it and I'm gonna go ahead and put it on screen now. So if you guys would be interested in getting a t-shirt with this graphic on it at all, be sure to let me know down below in the comments because I'm gonna be paying attention to it. I know I've asked on Twitter before if anybody would be interested and I've posted the graphic on my actual like Snapchat and it got some good feedback over on my Snapchat, so I was gonna go ahead and ask if you guys would be interested in it here on my channel since that's like my main source of audience or my main audience. But anyways, let me just jump right into this story. So pretty much this took place a few years ago. I want to say like 3 years ago now at this point, but at the time I had some neighbors who were in college. They were like seniors or upperclassmen in college, and a lot of the time in the winter I would end up going over to their house to smoke because they would let me smoke weed inside. I've talked about them a few times on my channel before. So this one particular weekend I decided to go over there. I believe it was like a Friday night or something, and I ended up going over there with my bong and like a little bit of weed. And so I get over to their house and I walk in the door and immediately there were like 3 or 4 other people who I had never met there before, and it seemed as if they were having kind of like a little bit of a party or like a get together, you know. It wasn't like a huge party or anything like that. They weren't blasting music or anything like that, but it was like a small kind of like friendly get together, chill kind of vibe that I was kind of getting from all these different people who were there who I had never met before. So I ended up walking in and greeting the people who I had never met before, you know, introducing myself to them, and I go ahead and just go and sit down right on the couch in the living room. And so I look over on the table and I end up seeing my neighbor's grinder sitting there, so I go ahead and grab it and open it to make sure there was no other weed in it. And after I checked that there was no weed in it, you know, I broke some of my buds up, stuck it in the grinder, and started grinding up my weed. And so I end up packing up this bowl while I'm sitting here on the couch surrounded by all these people, and I'm sitting there chilling, you know, and I end up lighting the bowl and I pass it over to my neighbor who was sitting next to me. And at first it was just him and I smoking this one bowl, you know, we were going back and forth. And then the next thing I know, one of my neighbor's friends ends up walking over and he just asked me, yo, do you mind if I hit that? And I end up passing him the ball and like, yeah dude, go for it, go ahead and hit it. And so he ends up finishing up this bowl because it was only like 1 or 2 more rips left in it. And so right after he cleared that, I ended up packing up another bowl. And the second bowl that we were smoking ended up going in like a full rotation since he was there, so it was split between the 3 of us. So me, my neighbor, and this guy I just ended up meeting finished up smoking this bowl. And right as I'm going to set down my bong on the table, the guy I'd ended up just meeting goes and asks me, yo dude, would you want to take a dab? And I look at him and I kind of just asked him like, wait, what'd you say? And he repeats himself and goes, would you like to take a dab? And at the time I had never really taken a dab before. Like I'd never taken a real dab off of a rig. I mean, I had taken dabs off of like little pens and stuff, like e-cig type pens, but I don't really consider that like a real dab. It doesn't get you anywhere as high as taking a dab off a rig. So after he repeated his question, I end up saying like, yeah, of course, I'd love to take a dab. And he just replied to me and he goes, yeah, I've been trying to save this wax I have right now because we're going to a big music festival this weekend. That's why all 3 of us are here. And he was referring to himself and like the other few people who were in the house with them that I didn't know. But he continued to say like, yeah, I was trying to save this wax for the festival, but you know, you just smoked me out a bowl, so it's only fair that I dab you out. And at the time I was just so hyped because like I said, I'd never taken a dab off a rig at this point. And so my neighbor goes into his bedroom and comes back out with his oil rig, which he had showed me before, and we bust out this like massive fucking unnecessary propane tank torch. And I'm not talking like a little butane torch, like a big ass fucking industrial looking propane tank torch. So we bust out this torch and I tell him like, yo, I don't really know how to torch the nail or anything, like I've never done this before, could you do it for me? And so he plucks me like a pretty fat fucking dab and he just goes ahead and starts torching the nail for me, and he hands me the little dabber tool, and he pretty much just explained to me, just go ahead and put the dab on the nail when it's red hot and then inhale. And so I didn't fuck up the dab or anything like that because I had seen videos of people taking dabs before. I just never had an opportunity to really get it myself. So he torches up this nail with a propane torch and it gets like bright fucking red, and I end up taking the dab at like full temperature, hot as shit. And I remember I exhaled that dab and I just started dying coughing, and you know, my whole throat literally felt like I had just inhaled shards of glass. It was so crazy, and immediately I just got head rushed with like such an intense high, and I was just choked up for a good second. And at the time I was pretty much just struggling to breathe without coughing just because of how much it like irritated my throat from just the smoke or the vapor from the dab. But I mean, after I kind of got past the whole throat thing, the high set in, and I just chilled and literally watched TV. Like, I think we were watching The Walking Dead the majority of the night, so I was just chilling. All in all, it ended up being a great experience, but I got like so fucking high, and it was literally just what I was expecting, and I was so happy about that. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video or life story. If you guys did at any point, please be sure to leave a like down below. And if you guys have ever taken a dab before, let me know your experiences down below in the comments too. You guys know I like reading those. Also, be sure to leave a comment about the t-shirts, whether or not you guys want to see these limited edition t-shirts that I might be putting out. Like I said, depending on how many of you guys actually want to see these shirts, I might actually make them, and I will make them if I get a lot of feedback saying you guys want them. But anyways, thanks again so much for watching today's video. You guys know I love each and every one of you. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys in the live stream right after this video, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm out. Peace.
I got more keys than Alicia. These niggas be talking police. 12. I took your hoe and released her. I used to trap out a Regal. 200,000 on my wrist. I thought it all was a fantasy.